A few months ago, when I would send an email to the congregation, I would get scores of bounce backs, out-of-office replies like, "Thank you for your email. I'm traveling on business and will get back to you as soon as I can." Or, "I'm on vacation. I'll be offline with limited access to email. If you need something, call someone else." I sent an email last week and received exactly one bounce back. That from our publicity department telling everyone how you could get in touch with them at home. What does it mean for our days and our nights that while most of us are home, almost none of us are out of office? What's the impact of waking up every day in the same place with the same limited range of options before us, plugged in 24/7 on the same screens with no clear end in sight? I don't know about you, but every morning my kids wake up and ask, "What day is it today? Is it Monday? Tuesday? Who knows day?" As the days turn to weeks, turn to months, there's a blurring that has set in between work and home, between days and weeks. As one WBUR listener put it, every day is a Monday. Every day is a week. Something is happening here. As we are flattening the curve, we are also flattening time. If we are blessed to be healthy in this time filled with so much pain and loss and suffering, then this is a first world problem of the highest order. But that doesn't mean that it's not a problem. It's a seasonal problem. The spring season filled with celebration is suddenly just more of the same. No proms to plan, graduations that we had looked forward to and set aside a whole day to sit seat to seat, shoulder to shoulder with hundreds or thousands of quelling parents and grandparents, family and friends in the hot sun, to watch graduates walk across a podium and receive their diploma and a handshake. Ooh, wow. All of these are suddenly strictly virtual affairs. Where will we be for graduation? The same place we are every morning, noon, and night. And that's a social problem. Like the story of Rip Van Winkle, who takes a nap one day and awakens to find himself stuck in a whole new world, it can sometimes feel like we've woken up as unwilling cast members on one of those extreme reality shows where they isolate everyone on separate islands and run experiments to see how much isolation, or for some of us, family interaction, a human being can possibly tolerate before they crack. How many hours in a day can we stare at our colleagues and our friends in Brady Bunch boxes on a screen? And there's a spiritual problem. So many vibrant and beautiful moments we and our children and grandchildren had been looking forward to, now gone. For all of our resilience and positive plan Bs, it's starting to sink in that all those moments are not just postponed, but gone. Trips abroad that may or may not happen at some point again, but will never be this trip in this way that would have shaped a life. Sports seasons, either on the field or in the stands, that won't return. Plays and concerts, projects and productions, school step-ups, and now even sleepaway summer camps. Heck, even just going to the mall together on a Sunday afternoon. All of those highlight moments that form the valleys and peaks of our days, the ones that we looked ahead to in our calendars when we needed an extra boost, removed. And suddenly, Next Tuesday is not the big moment that we had been counting down the days towards. It's just Tuesday. Do you remember that old movie, Groundhog Day? My family and I have taken to weekly showings of classic movies, and so I thought with an ironic chuckle that this would be the time to show my kids this movie. I remembered Groundhog Day as a laughter-filled romp through the idea of what would happen if you found yourself waking up in the same place with the same people, stuck on the same block in the same town, knowing that no matter what you did, you'd be waking up in that same place again the next day. I had completely forgotten the pathos at the heart of the movie. I had forgotten the way it not only asks, what if you had the same day to do all over again, but what happens when you're stuck somewhere you don't want to be and you can't change it? What happens when the days bleed into more days? What happens is at first dark. Bill Murray is not just frustrated and funny, he's filled with existential angst, ennui, and anger. He spends a good part of a minutes-long movie montage trying to find creative ways to end his life. I think I forgot all of that because when I first saw the movie, that part was totally unimaginable. Totally unrelatable. After all, if we had nothing but time, we'd like to think that we would get to the place where he ultimately gets to, of finding meaningful ways to spend each day a whole lot quicker. We'd savor every moment. We'd learn more, do more, give more, celebrate more. But it turns out it's much harder to unflatten time than it would appear. Our rabbis tell an unflattering story about the wise King Solomon, who finds himself in a gilded cage, bored and melancholy. He comes up with a quest for each of his advisors to go out and find him a ring with miraculous power. If a person who is happy puts it on, he says, that person will become sad. But if someone who is sad puts it on, they will become happy. According to some versions of the story, King Solomon didn't actually believe that such a ring existed, but wanted to have a little fun with his advisors, who immediately fanned out across the kingdom, searching high and low. No matter where they searched, though, no one had heard of such a thing. Finally, as the sun was setting on the final day, the last searcher walked back towards the king's palace, dejected, and a boy crossed his path. Out of habit, he asked, "Do you happen to know of a miraculous ring with the power that if a person's happy and puts on the ring, it will be sobering, but if a sad person puts on the ring, it will result in joy?" "Not only do I know of it," the boy said, "but my grandfather just gave it to me just last week on my 13th birthday." The boy showed it to the advisor, who immediately took him to King Solomon, who looked at the ring and cried, "You have brought me the most important truth." He read aloud the inscription, "Gam ze ya'avor," this too shall pass. When our calendar reads, "Every day is Monday, every day is a week, as far as the eye can see," how do we unflatten time? With this ancient wisdom. When we feel the angst and pain of this moment, this too shall pass. When we cannot see the horizon, this too shall pass. Recently, an article ran about a 100-year-old letter dated January 30th, 1920. It details a decision to close a California high school in the face of the resurgent influenza epidemic. It lays out strict social distancing. Students can only visit teachers from a distance, one at a time, and details that students will take on correspondence work, last century's version of a virtual school day. Jill Cunningham, who discovered this letter in her home, said, "That's my high school, and those were my relatives. And that means to me that the world has done this before, and we've come through it. Gamze Ya'avor." But the opposite is also true. The days we have now, they too will pass. The joy of today, of Eleanor's amazing bat mitzvah, is so precious because from across the country, you, family, and friends chose to gather. Relatives waking up at 6:30 a.m. from California to be here together. Friends writing notes and sending blessings and reciting prayers. Temple Emmanuel members joining in prayer so that even though we cannot celebrate in person today, we are here. The pandemic could have turned today into an ordinary day. But Eleanor, you chose to fill this moment with holiness, bringing Temple Emmanuel home and home to Temple Emmanuel. Because of you, we unflatten time. That choice is there for big moments like today and for small moments in each of our days. This week, on yet another in a seemingly endless series of Zoom calls, one of the participants shared with the group that she can't remember a time before the pandemic that she and her kids and her husband regularly shared the same table. But suddenly, her life is a constant stream of cook, set, clear, clean for breakfast. Cook, set, clear, clean for lunch. Cook, set, clear, clean for dinner. And then get up again the next day and do it all over again. But there is this. 3 meals a day, they sit and share. 3 meals a day, they talk and laugh. 3 meals a day, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. When this is over, she said, we will enthusiastically go back to our full and busy lives. My daughter back to college, my son back to high school sports, and we're looking forward to that and praying that we get through that safely. I want so badly for this epidemic to end, and I feel guilty even thinking this, let alone saying it out loud. But I don't want a fast-forward button. The bad will go, but the good will too. And so right now, I'm lifting what there is here in this moment. As the meeting concluded, I went upstairs to pull out from my jewelry box a ring that my family had given me for a birthday that was longer ago than I care to remember, and I put it back on my finger. It reads, Gamze Ya'avor. How do we unflatten time? By making the choice in both pain and promise to lift this moment, because Gamze Ya'avor, this too shall pass. Shabbat Shalom.